This recording that CNN got a copy of is terrible for Donald Trump's legal chances. That's my take. It's terrible. Trump went on Bret Baier last week and I believe mischaracterized it, but we're going to play it for the audience and get you guys to weigh in and let the audience decide for themselves. He should not have gone on Bret Baier and talked about the document. Before we saw the document, we only had a partial transcript of the tape. I said, we don't know whether Trump actually had the document. It could have been full of bluster. He could have been waving around, the morning sports scores saying, look at this. I've got something that contradicts Mark Milley calling me a warmonger. I've got a document that proves he was the warmonger. He was submitting plans to me to attack Iran, not the other way around. Could have been absolutely nothing in his hand. Well, he kind of tried to go with that defense on Bret Baier, but the full audio tape, I think, puts the lie to what he said. Let's first play for the audience exactly what he tried to say to Bret in diminishing what it was he waved around some meeting involving Mark Meadows' book that Trump attended, a couple of members of the press attended, and some Trump aides attended that has now become such an issue for him.
Ready?
You were recording.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know.
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not president, I can't declassify. Brett, there was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles. I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley.
Very clear defense. It was not, I was basically saying I was bullshitting people. I didn't actually have it. I had just newspapers. That's all I was waving around. Well, maybe this was bullshit. Like maybe what you're about to hear was him bullshitting? Let's let the audience decide. Here's the full 2-minute tape of Trump with that alleged document.
Bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
It started right at the
beginning. Like when Milley's talking about, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in. That's right. Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at him. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute, let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. Look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time,
She'd send it to Anthony Weiner, the pervert. By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it. And, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me.
Oh, God.
I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
declassify.
Figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is classified.
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so, here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
it's incredible, right?
No,
hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
I mean, I was waving around a newspaper article is not going to cut it. He says this was done by the military and given to me. These are the papers. It's highly confidential. This is secret information. In the newspaper, it's not going to work. They got him. They got him on this particular issue. He should not have given that interview to Bret Baier in that way. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, where do you start?
The Cokes was a nice touch, I guess. He was trying to provide refreshment for the assembled. No, look, I'm not a lawyer. But it strikes me that when you have audio of your client talking about the inadvisability of sharing the documents that he is sharing on audio, that's not a great start.
Right.
The Brett Baer thing is a total mystery to me, and Brett did a great interview, as he always does, but I can't imagine anybody being put in a situation where they have a federal indictment against them and they're just sort of like winging it on air.
This is his freedom.
You just don't talk about it.
He's risking his freedom. Why is he doing that? It was absolutely foolhardy to speak of. Even Trump should be able to say, obviously, I can't speak about that because these guys are trying to put me in jail. That would have been a totally acceptable answer that did not show any weakness. It would have shown a rational assessment of what the risks are to him in this prosecution. That was an insane thing to do, especially given that there does appear to be a specific document. Now, they haven't found the document. It wasn't found in those Mar-a-Lago boxes, but they never searched Bedminster. And if you read the indictment, it says Trump wound up taking a bunch of these documents to Bedminster, his golf club up in New Jersey. And they decided, for whatever reason, maybe because of PR and so on, not to raid Bedminster. So honestly, that document could be sitting there right now. I have no idea, but it certainly sounds like Trump had it in his hand that day and understood, as he said, it was secret. It was highly confidential. It had not been declassified. That's not even the issue at this point, the classification. It's just whether it relates to national defense. And more importantly, specifically says in here that the military gave it to him. The military did it and give it to him, and recognized that it would have been inappropriate to share unless it was declassified, which it wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, look, going back to the preface of your thoughts on this charge and the advisability of whether or not they should have prosecuted this at all, I have a little bit of different take than you, Meg. I think it's possible to be deeply concerned about two systems of justice here. I think it's possible to be deeply concerned about where these leaks are coming in the course of a prosecution of one political party versus another political party, without defending what is a pretty serious underlying charge. And
that's how I feel too. Where do we disagree?
Because I think whether or not you bring a charge against Trump, I think you have to, if you believe this to be true, and this audio suggests that it very well could be, I think the government has no choice to bring a charge. I think they should have brought a charge against Hillary Clinton as well. I think anybody
but they didn't.
Who has
but they didn't. That's got to play in. But Holmes, they didn't bring the charge against Hillary Clinton. And I realize it's not Comey still at the FBI. It's a different attorney general, but that it doesn't matter. Like it's the office's priors that matter, not yours specifically as Merrick Garland.
Yeah, no, but I think there are two separate tracks of what you've got to do here. I think almost every Republican presidential candidate has suggested that amongst the first things they do is rework the whole FBI, rework the entire Department of Justice to make sure that we actually have a justice system again, and not one that benefits the political party, one political party in particular. And then there's a separate issue of how you deal with crimes. I don't think that you can excuse criminal behavior for anyone because the other party got away with it. I think that the only answer to this
how can you say that in the vacuum that vacuum? And I look, as a general principle floating around out there, I agree with you, but you can't disassociate that statement from what happened with Hillary, what's happening right now with Hunter that we spent the first half hour talking about. You just can't. You can't ignore criminal behavior. They're doing it right now.
Yep, exactly. But if you do that, you perpetuate the end of this country itself. This is a country that is a democracy that relies exclusively on the trust of the American people. If half of this country believes that they are never going to get a fair shot simply because of their political affiliation, one of two things happens. Either they all become Democrats or the country erupts into civil war. You don't have a choice when you're operating in a place like America, but to try to figure out how to get back to what our founders intended as a government for the people and by the people.
Do you remember eating cereal as a kid? My kids love their cereal. Well, I love it too. But, as an adult, you kind of move on from it. That's where Magic Spoon comes in. They have replicated your favorite childhood cereals to taste delicious, but each serving contains 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs per serving. It's a keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free way to relive those memories watching your favorite cartoons. Plus, it's only 140 calories a serving. It's like there's magic in every spoonful. With over 8 unique flavors, you will not get bored of feeling good with Magic Spoon. And birthday cake is back, by the way. The super popular, previously limited edition is now back to stay. We are celebrating our birthdays early with this fan favorite, or you can try any one of their other favorites. They've got tons of options for you. My kids love them. Head to magicspoon.com/MK to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try the magic for yourself. And be sure to use our promo code MK at checkout to save $5 off your order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, they've backed it with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, not your cup of tea, what have you, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Love when companies do that. What better way of standing by their product? Get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/MK. Use that code MK to save yourself those $5 lovely dollars. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.